Hi, my name is Vasu Brown. The purpose of this audio recording is to discuss about a case I had. I had done a bio survey last week with a Zyto scan, and we did a virtual testing. Like the patient was in a different location, and we did over the internet virtual clinic, and we tested and like we I ran three different scans. One to understand the issues of a baseline body needs. The second one because one of the concern was the Lyme illness, and we tested against the strains. And then the third one was on terpenes in essential oils, what would help and benefit the patient. And I promised the patient that I am going to, or rather client, I am going to record an audio so that they can process this information, because I find that sometimes it's easier when you can process it in your own time, so that like you can pause the slides and pause the audio and then take into consideration what I'm talking about. Okay, so the way I'm going to go about it is, first I'm going to go over the report, what it showed, and what it means, and then afterwards, what I have felt would be the best approach, so that you would have both suggestion given to you. So when we did the cytobio survey, it goes over multiple markers, 76 biological markers, and also it assesses million impulses, 4 million impulses per their software, and it marks what was in range, what was out of range. It calculates what's the differential ratio, which is the baseline average for that person, and then afterwards it matches against what was off, and then what system made those results to trigger abnormality. And then it measures the priority, what needs to be addressed first versus second, third, extra. Okay, so when we did the Zytopia survey, I did the first scan, which was a baseline scan, which involved the comprehensive workup. And the organ that was stressed, we figured out where the first one was thyroid. And when I looked at the report, the thyroid biomarker, usually, like I said, the first differential ratio baseline, the patient tested in the range of 10.16. The numbers might not mean anything, but I'm just going to tell you how I read it. So the thyroid came with a marker of 45.82. So whenever there is 3 times and above, it is significant. So about 30, you could see it had the highest importance for addressing those issues first. The second issue that came up positive was thymus, which was 37.88. The third issue that we figured out was spleen, which was 33.16. And the fourth one was central nervous system, which came up with 31.75. The rest of the system, in descending order after that, was hypothalamus, ovaries, and gallbladder, but which tested in normal range. So the hypothalamus was 10.93, ovaries was 9.72, and gallbladder was 6.75. And then also the other biomarkers, when we tested, the client had tested positive for issues involving maxillary sinus on the left, and then the tooth 15 was stressed. And when we tested against what is the organ, because there is energy markers going through these organs, when I went back and checked what is the organ affected, which goes through T15, was spleen, stomach, and parathyroids. So these are the organs, because energetically these organs go through those markers. So those were affected. And then the second marker that it picked up is T17, and the T17 was the T17. It says it's heart, pituitary, small intestine, And also these vectors also pass through the thoracic vertebra and sacral vertebrae. And then the third one that was affected was T4, T13, 14, and 16. And let me see, what is T13 would be large intestine, lungs, and then T14 would be spleen, stomach, thyroid, and T16 was small intestine, heart, pituitary. So you could kind of like see it as like similar patterns. And then the right maxillary was also affected, and on the right side, the tooth that came positive was T5 and T12. So I'm going to see what is T5. T5 is large intestine and lungs, and T12 would be large intestine and lungs. So it is kind of similar on the right side. And then also spleen meridian was affected. So this is the first basic scan which showed. The second one I did for terpenes in essential oils, and it said the person needed support with respiratory system and muscle soreness. And the essential oil that was closest match was eucalyptus. The one I like is Eucalyptus citriodora, which when they did case study, they found it worked against preventing TB. When they did the scientific study, there are articles online. And the third scan which we did was specifically for Lyme, and there were multiple species that tested positive, and some, like I think the client had a suspicion this was Bartonella, but she also had some stressors that was connected with the Borrelia species. Okay, so and then the last part which I want to talk about is remedies. And now we tested against the custom-made remedy the client made at home, and the remedy didn't have like significant number, but it just suggested to continue using it, but it didn't say whether it was good or bad. So we we couldn't really properly assess, but the remedy, the patient report generated showed that what would benefit the patient or the client is in the top, like usually we do like 2 detoxifying substance and 2 things to support. So the one that it suggested that would help is cinchona extract, quina bark extract, and then for improving sleep, valerian root extract from one company, and from another company it said to improve immunity through reishi mushroom formula, and then to rejuvenate brain via Cerevan, which is a premium research lab formula. And also there was a suggestion from the other company for maintenance therapy to use. So you want to do 2 of each, whichever one you pick, whether it's Nutramedics, that's the first company, second one's a premier research lab. So whichever company you pick, like you want to pick the top 2 products the suggestion gave, so that you want to understand like whether it worked, and then if it didn't, you can keep changing the formulation. And for daily maintenance support, there was a suggestion to use magnesium in the form of threonine. Magnesium threonate is supposed to cross the blood-brain barrier. It's available in different companies, so you need to figure out which company you would want to buy from. And then the last one was to focus on also in between cleansing, which is detoxification. So in Nutramedics, the detoxification suggestion was via zeominerals, zeolite. And in Premium Research Lab, it was both to cleanse the kidney and also the HCl detox. So it is renabin and hydrochloric acid. So the way you would do the detox is like, this is the part I think the client had a difficulty understanding. When you want to do the detox, you don't want to do it continuously. you want to do a detox for 3 or 4 days, followed by nutritional support for 2 weeks. So you would do it in cycles until the symptoms keep coming down, because when you keep doing detox or cleansing, you're depleting the nutrients. So you want to, in addition, nutritionally balance the person and then support the immunity and then come back for cleansing. So you would do it in cycles. It depends on like how many cycles you want to do. Sometimes if you want to do an intense cleanse, you can do a 7-day cleanse followed by 3 weeks of vitamins or nutritional support. Or if you do a quick cleanse, you would do a 3-day cleanse followed by 2 week support. So either one, it depends on whichever way you do. Keep doing the same thing until the symptoms keep coming down. And that being said, now I'm going to go over my personal preference for all this report, going over like what exactly the vectors and stuff we need to focus on. So since the organ biomarker that was stressed was thyroid, thymus, spleen, central nervous system, this is what I would focus on for treatment protocol, because even though there are stresses and stuff, the problem I'm seeing is the first one is there is a stress in thyroid because there is environmental toxins that is causing it to stress, because thyroid usually gets stressed when there is issues with lymphatics, and also it is influenced by environmental minerals and chemicals, or I shouldn't say minerals. It's like whatever is preventing it from absorbing iodine and making the thyroid hormone that's more efficient for metabolism. So something is stressing it. So the first thing I personally prefer is to replace iodine. And iodine replacement, like I mentioned, the one I use similar to what was recommended, I heard in Japan after the tsunami, they were recommended to take 13.8 milligram per day. So the closest I could find was 12.5 from RLS lab. I think it is RLC lab, sorry. And their iodine is my personal preference. And I usually use that formula, 1 capsule per day for 1 whole year you want to take. Or if in case you want, the other one that I like is Premium Research Lab has another formula called Xenostat, which eliminates the xenobiotics and environmental chemicals. And the Xenostat, the way I also use it for cleansing, which is amazing. It works great. If you have generalized achy pain and muscle soreness and stuff, you do a cleanse with xenobiotics, Xenostat for xenobiotics, or even if in case you travel a lot, you inhale lots of the vehicular gas. That also, sometimes some people, they get exhausted and get headaches and stuff for people who travel a lot. So they also can use Xenostat. I personally, when I have issues, when I wake up with headache or body ache, I would use Xenostat 10 capsules every 3 to 4 hours for 1 to 2 days until the symptoms goes away. And then for maintenance, I'll just use 1 Xenostat with hydrochloric acid per day whenever I eat. But the way you would do it is according to what is the major issue. If it is aches and pain, you want to get rid of it quicker, and then you would do the iodine replacement, because Xenostat also has kelp, and so it does give iodine and a little bit of digestive enzymes and cleansing formula for xenobiotics. So the next organ biomarker that was stressed was thymus. Oh, the reason the thyroid, if you just clean and take care of the environmental pollutants, it works very well, and that support might itself would be enough. But then you want to recheck and see with a scan in 1 month whether you responded. The second one is thymus. Thymus is like a master gland for lymphatics, as you know, and it would make sense when you are having issues with Lyme that lymphatics are also affected, because that's what makes people perceive the aches and pains in the body. So again, it's a case of body not responding very well to the nutrients we eat. Instead, it's using it to filter the toxins. So the cleansing works, but at the same time, for thymus,